Welcome back to another episode of the Blue Ridge Bonfire, sponsored by Blue Ridge Overland Gear. We have got some special guests with us today. And as always, like, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your enemies. Bring this up at family dinners. So we have Eric and Rachel with MSO. They've got their truck in here at the shop today. We just got done outfitting like all the Molly. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I try to like figure out like what we can do when somebody sends us a picture of something. Eric texted me a video and I was just like,
empty doors, empty
full window Molly panels, full back wall Molly panel, all the pouches. That's what we can do.
You'll never know where anything is again.
Labeling will be important. We did some clear front stuff, but we're gonna have a full video on that on the channel. Plus, we did a walk around of their build, but that's what we actually want to talk about. So. I guess first, let's circle back Tacoma, right? Is what you guys had before. Mm-hmm. What went down with that? Because that's kind of crazy. Mm-hmm. And then talk about why you chose the Tundra and how you've outfitted it. And we'll go from there.
Sure. Yeah, we had a fully built Tacoma. It was a 2018 TRD off-road alley cab canopy camper. Lifted on 33s on skinnies, which was really nice. And it was last. Yeah, agreed. Last May, was it already last May?
Yeah, May or June.
Yeah, not this past May, but the May before. Mm-hmm. We were actually on a guided trip, and it was the one Mountain State guided trip where we didn't film the whole trip. We just filmed everyone's camp setups.
Oh, okay.
So we were on the second to last day in Virginia, just on a regular, like, unmaintained county road, just big mud puddles everywhere. It wasn't like a deep water crossing or anything like that. But my fender well, I didn't have a snorkel. Fender well ripped out from underneath the fender well. I went into maybe a 14, 16 inch deep mud puddle, went up over a rock and came down, and the truck just died.
For those of you on audio, either hand gestures or
right.
Check the video out.
It's about a 50-50 listener-viewer situation.
Okay.
But don't worry, we leave the listeners in the cold all the
time. We'll talk about what's outside the window when we're not here. Not knowing that nobody else can see the window.
Right, yeah. So, right, like 8 inches of water, well-placed rock.
And I don't think I could have done it again, but I think the combination of the fender well ripping out, which I did not notice, and then we had a Canon oil air filter in that truck. Yeah. So if we had kept the factory paper filter in there, it probably wouldn't have died.
Yeah.
But one of the guests towed us out of the trail, another 2 miles, burnt up the brakes going down the hill to the gas station. I spent the night in the gas station, and then Jason took all 5 guests up to the campsite, and they didn't get back till like 10 o'clock at night because it was muddy and like the most technical part of the trip.
Oh, wow.
And I was just in the gas station
hanging out. Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Was it like at least a 24-hour gas station?
It was a 24-hour gas
station.
Nice.
That's good. Grab some snacks.
Yeah. But
go to the bathroom at midnight. That's the key.
Yeah. We were like 2 hours away from home. So we got the truck towed to...
So you were on this trip too?
No, I was not.
Oh, okay.
I was so lucky to receive that phone call you never want to hear. Saying, "Hey, honey."
You were part of the recovery. Got it.
Lots of moral support here.
Right.
At least you got a phone call. I have a similar story, and we were real far back. So it was like the next day.
Before anybody knew.
At like 3:30. Hey,
a day and a half after you were supposed to be home.
Yeah, that's not good.
But no, that is wild. Like fender liner, the perfect splash, some other factors, and just, because people talk about like water crossings and stuff like that, but that's a perfect example. It goes to show you like Murphy's Law, weird stuff happens. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was not a water crossing at all. It was just a puddle.
Which is crazy because I've been hood deep in a bunch of vehicles without a snorkel and don't even think about it. Like it doesn't even cross my mind that.
Keep your bow weight. Manage that.
Get a little bow wave rolling and let her go.
We didn't even think it was hydrolocked at the time. Like we checked our code. The code was the mass airflow sensor, and so we took all that stuff out. There was like a little bit of water in there, but it didn't. We didn't think it was hydrolocked. We thought it was the airflow sensor. But then spent the next 4 months basically being a pain in the insurance company's side. They said I was paying for the extra coverage, like $22,000 of extra coverage, and they came back and said they would pay me $809 out on everything else. And so, yeah, 2 months later, it took me going to a sales office and sitting down with the rep there and being like, "Hey, you're gonna call with me until we talk to."
Till we get a human that can make a decision.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
interesting you say that. Kind of an acquaintance of mine recently got his LX wiped out. He's in Asheville, and has actually been like got a job with somebody doing cleanup, and a truck like guy put it in, got out, and it was in drive holding on a hill, and it rolled into him like a rollback wrecker did. Something flew off, busted his windshield, so his GX was like wiped out. And similar thing, he got like this basement, bargain basement offer. He actually got a private insurance adjuster involved, which I didn't actually know was a thing. And he said, it was like a complete 180. Like what that guy was able to negotiate for him was so much better than the initial like offer they came back with. So
that's a good option.
Something good. Yeah, I didn't even know that was one, but yeah.
Private. I would have just assumed an attorney. That's what I would have.
Right.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what this guy does. Like he's just, just deals with insurance companies. But yeah, same thing. It was like, we'll give you a bag of peanuts and a high five for your GX,
Yeah. I mean, it felt very predatory. Like, it's lucky that we have other vehicles that we can use to drive and that our jobs don't rely on us like having to commute. Because if we were
Do you guys both work from home?
No, I work at UNC in hospital.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you actually have to go somewhere.
Yeah.
You have a real job.
So we only had one car at the time.
Yeah. But
nice.
I mean, we almost got to that point where we were ready to talk to a lawyer and just try and figure out what we could do and what our options were. And that was finally when the insurance company finally came through. So
good.
Yeah.
And now we're now we've gone full size. So you've come to your senses.
Yeah. So during that whole time,
It took a while, right?
Basically,
and now you're like, what in the world was I doing with that little truck?
Yeah. Well, she did more research. Like during that time, Jason Specht was like, recast the vision, like figure out what you guys want to do, and she really took that.
Vision. That sounds like Jason. Sorry, go ahead.
She took that to heart. So she did more research into the trucks than I did during that time.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, we totally went back to basics. So we were like, do we even want a truck? Like, are we looking at vans? Are we looking at, literally, we were putting anything else on the table at that point.
Rachel, you probably don't listen to our podcast. We talk about how a Sienna is an overlooked option.
I'm telling you.
For like most
Toyota
people.
Sienna.
Yeah.
Couple inches lift, 33s. Man, I wreak havoc with that. I think I really need to.
It was on the table.
Yeah,
honestly,
What I would do for an MSO Sienna,
right? Yeah. That would be awesome.
Yeah. We need to get Zach and Donut involved in that.
Yeah. We went back and forth a lot on whether we wanted a new vehicle or if we wanted something that was used so that we could have a little bit more room in the budget to really build it out the way we wanted to. We were going back and forth on doing hybrids or fully electric, doing V8. And we ended up landing on the Tundra in part because of its reliability. We wanted the V8 engine. We really wanted to make sure that we had a little bit more space so that when we were building out the truck the way that we wanted to, it wouldn't be as cramped as it was. Because when it was when it was the two of us plus our two dogs, so the four of us in the Tacoma, it was cramped. It was all good.
Just changing in a closet.
We were all stepping on each other. It just was not comfortable.
Your dogs are what, 35, 40 pound range?
No,
they're like 55, 60.
So heavier than I thought.
Just a lot of fluff.
I know where the dog starts and the fluff stops.
That's fair.
Yeah, and I will say that the Crew Max, with your seat delete, be sure to check out the videos featuring this truck because it's really well done. But that seat delete is massive. You could, uncomfortably sleep in an adult.
Who did the seat delete? Did you guys do that, or
we bought a Goose Gear 60% seat delete, and then we custom built drawers and a platform on top of that.
Okay, so you started Goose Gear as a base, and then did the rest of it.
Massive.
Yeah, it's so great.
I mean, it pulls out a full 34, 36 inches.
Yeah. And it's how wide?
15, 16 inches.
No, it's
34. Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, we wanted enough space so that if we wanted to, we could put everything that we need for the dogs for, a couple week trip. Just put it in there. And it fits everything.
No, it's really.
Can it be longer? Can you get 60 inches out of it? 50,
I mean, if we took
something?
the other seat out.
Yeah.
We wanted to keep one seat just in case we end up having a kiddo or
15 inches. I mean, that'd be. 15 inches.
But I mean, like, I think
50. I'd only need 52. That'd be perfect.
the combination of, I know where you're going.
Yeah.
The combination of like the height, the width.
It does lock also.
Yeah, no, right. I mean,
And
it
the
doesn't
depth.
need to. The doors lock. I'm fine.
The combination of the height, the width, and the depth, like the volume of that thing is impressive. Like I remember when you, before you had anything in the back done, you showed me that, and I was like, wow, like you could put
4 rifles.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
All of our camp kitchen stuff was in there, our chairs, our camp table. Yeah, that was what we used as our primary storage until the back was built out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then one thing we want to talk about, and I mean, I think this is really cool, is you all have done your whole build, right? Like this thing showed up bone stock. And so kind of run us through everything you've done, and then the fact that it's been the two of you in your driveway.
And we didn't kill each other.
Yeah.
but you're both still here. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I don't think that would happen. That wouldn't happen in
We
my
like
house.
each other
so-
even more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe the order you did the mods, whatever makes sense. But yeah, walk us through kind of what all you've done to the Tundra.
Yeah, so we started in March of 2024.
And we can back it up a little bit too, because the reason why we wanted to build it together was in part because I had zero experience, like working on the trucks, working, like really understanding all the components and everything, in part so that if we go out by ourselves, something happens to Eric, like I want to make sure I understand a lot of the fundamentals of each of the systems that we have, like how to use basic tools.
Yeah.
So, if I needed to, I could change the tire out, like all that stuff I wanted to be able to do in case something happened to Eric, right?
And we wanted it to be our build, not just like a truck that I built for us.
Yeah.
Like, so this whole process really...
It's like a foreign language to me. I don't even understand what you're saying. I mean, I see your mouth moving, and but I got nothing. I'm
I
just
know.
like,
I'm very lucky to have a
yeah,
partner.
no, the math just, I'm just like, neither one of us wouldn't have survived. Probably me. I probably would be dead.
Oh, don't worry. Eric wanted to kill me a couple times. He was so frustrated.
No, I'm pretty sure I would have died in my sleep. Natural causes of
Or it
some
had been,
kind of-
hello, 911. He was under a truck with Harbor Freight jacklifts.
Oh, geez.
I would like the record to show that he was under a truck with Harbor Freight jacklifts.
It's been an accident.
Oof.
There were 4 of them.
They all caved in at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like aluminum foil.
Yeah, so we...
They were made out of rooms, right?
Yeah, so because of that, because I was starting from scratch, like we really had to start at the beginning. Now, the first thing that we did was the electrical panel under the hood of the truck. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, with so it has a Switch Pros, and then it has a Blue Sea safety hub that we could wire the camper into.
Okay.
So we could put big old fuses in there, and then we'd have like smaller fuses for the radio and everything. It was just like a place to plug everything in.
Yeah.
So that I didn't have just a mess of wire,
Right. Yeah.
you know, attaching to the battery and everything like that.
Yeah.
So that was the first thing we did.
Then we did the seat delete in the back just to like kind of dip my toes in the water, make sure I'm understanding like basic fundamentals. And then, of course, because of what happened with the taco, the next thing that we had to do was the snorkel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And she cut most of the hole of that snorkel, and that was like the hump. That was
Yeah.
like the main thing to help her like get the ownership over making mistakes or just doing that modification.
Yeah. I mean, I was terrified to make those first couple cuts into the body of the truck because I was like, the only thing that was going through my mind was like, don't F this up. Please don't F this up.
Yeah,
Because
It's just another
bring it
fender.
up here. I'll screw up your shit. Don't worry about it.
well, I just didn't
We'll
want
punch
to.
holes in anything. I don't
Yeah.
care.
there you
The
go.
nice thing is
Yeah.
it's just a fender. You just gotta get a new fender.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's white, right? So
Yeah.
there's a lot of white fenders out there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a scrapyard right up the road.
I mean, it's wrapped. It doesn't even matter. It's wrapped.
Paint.
right.
Yeah.
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 We get you
Yeah.
a blue one. We get you a red one.
Yeah. It was
Easy
just
stuff.
Yeah, I was just so worried that I would
Yeah.
make mistakes and that, we wouldn't be able to come back from that. And
Well,
I
and
really,
it was kind of new too, right? Like, so like,
Totally.
yeah,
It was, it had 16,000 miles when we bought it.
yeah.
I started most of my cutting on stuff that was junk, so it was like,
Yeah.
it's $1,000 Jeep Cherokee. Whack the rocker panel off of that thing and let's drill some holes in it.
Yeah,
It'll
yeah.
be fine.
There's
Yeah.
another one everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that snorkel, I'm thinking that one's like most Toyotas, right? Just cut a hole, feed the S piece in, pop it in the airbox. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. And then we did wheels, suspension, tires, and all the armor and stuff.
Yeah.
And that was all in our driveway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
the suspension part, I mean, coming from Matt helping me do the taco back in the day, like that's, can be an interesting endeavor if things don't cooperate.
Yeah.
It can be.
That was
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
most intimidating part
Yeah.
of the build.
The most what?
Intimidating.
Intimidating.
Yeah. Because I had never done a front suspension before. I'd
Yeah.
only done rear.
And you guys have got like bypass, like, you know, the whole 9 yards. Yeah. Yeah, we were talking earlier before we got here in the studio about, like, you know, the sketchy things you see online with people like compressing springs.
Oh,
like,
dude, I've done so many bad things with springs.
I've got a Walmart ratchet strap and a
Yeah, I've never done
and
that.
hope.
But, I mean, I have spring compressors and stuff, but some of them are so hard to get in.
right.
That,
Yeah,
like they're under so much tension that you're like, if this thing goes wrong, we're all gonna die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The spring
it's
didn't
gonna
have to
kill
do
me
that.
and the neighbor when this.
yeah,
thing
right. The
goes.
spring disappears. Like,
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
it goes wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, knock you out. And
Yeah.
Oh, if you're
Crack
lucky.
your head open.
If you're lucky,
Yeah.
that's all it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
I mean, you start thinking stuff under tension, like going back to we were talking about Jim Simmons earlier. He was underneath a truck, and because he runs a record company, and there was a drive shaft under tension, and it let go on him when he was going underneath I think to take it out. The drive shaft ended up letting go and bust him in the head and like almost killed him.
Jesus.
Like,
Yeah,
Oh
like-
my
like-
gosh.
and that's the same sort of
Yeah.
scary,
Yeah.
it's the same sort of tension you have, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen
Wow.
videos of guys that literally had like blocks of wood and a ratchet strap, and it breaks. And the dude filming is just like, where did it go? And they look out the open garage. It's like the spring's just,
Yeah,
Gone.
yeah, it's in three neighbors over. It's stuck in a tree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Just,
And all that's left is like the dust that was all over the
yeah, yeah, exactly. Cartoon. Yeah.
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 You're gonna weld a duck to that, so you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they do with them, I guess.
Yeah.
Yep.
End up in a playground.
Yeah, little known fact, they don't install those in playgrounds. It's just bad mechanics nearby. Yeah, so that armor, right? So I'm curious, what did you guys do? Because that, what did it come with? Just like a front skid factory?
No.
Yeah, barely.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
was
really?
I mean, it was like the Toyota factory, but it wasn't
Plastic and
off-road
hope.
or
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
Plastic and hope.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I think on that generation, like the off-road's the only one that has like a...
Yeah, and they didn't really have. I mean, the Tundra is interesting. It's 2.5 Gen Tundra. Like, there's no factory locker option.
Yeah, yeah.
There's not really. I mean, they called them. They put an off-road label on them and like,
Yeah,
put different tuned suspension on them, but
Yeah.
that's about it.
hence
it's like
the
super basic.
one that I'm looking at. We'll circle back.
Yeah, except for the Rock Warrior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But you found one.
oh yeah, I found a really nice one. It's kind of
Cool.
pricey, but man, I really want it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But the armor was all Victory, Daryl, and Corey, and
Yeah.
the guys over there have been really great friends to MSO. And
You did a Victory roof rack. I noticed that looks really
Victory
nice.
roof rack, Victory front bumper, worn winch, Victory sliders and skids.
Nice.
And all aluminum except for the sliders. Sliders
Yeah.
are steel.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
great.
especially on the Tundra, that adds up fast. I was looking at somebody's build thread where they were comparing steel skids to the aluminum, and where they're so big, it's like, oh, holy crap! Like that is a lot of weight. Yeah.
Yeah. We did a steel transfer case skid, but aluminum front, and that thing was like, 85 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
85 pounds of aluminum.
no, it's steel.
Oh, it's steel.
The
It's steel.
transfer.
I'm
The
like,
transfer
Yeah.
case one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
It's aluminum, but it's an inch and a half thick.
All right. That's what I was saying. I'm like, wow. That's,
Not going anywhere.
that is a lot of Reynolds.
4-inch bolts. Like, yeah.
That is a lot of Reynolds wrap.
Cool. Yeah. And then obviously the mod cap. You got the first one, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
First full size mod
Yeah,
cap.
the first full size mod cap, 2 sleep. Installed that at OK 4-wheel drive. She couldn't join for that install.
Yeah, it was my very last week of my clinical internship for clinical psychology, so I had to finish up. Seeing
They
all my
wouldn't let you
patients.
leave to go put a camper on?
No,
Weird.
unfortunately, yeah. I was so bummed because I missed the install on the Tacoma too.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe the next one.
As someone that's taken part in a mod cap install at OK 4-wheel drive, it's all kinds of fun stuff. Like, hey, the three of you lay down in the truck so that we can back it underneath the jacks because they don't go any higher, you know,
Yeah.
like, and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, we had to let all the air out of the tires once the
Yeah.
camper was installed to get it out the 9-foot
Yeah.
bay door.
Yeah.
Did you do it in the front window then?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That was fun. And then we basically took a break after that was all installed. I went to Utah and Colorado with MSO.
Yeah, we were in
We
Colorado
were in
for a
Colorado
month.
together for
Yeah.
a month. We left the truck out there to get wrapped. So
Oh, cool.
we wrapped it, the whole truck in pearl white, and then put all
Decals.
the decals and everything on it.
Yeah.
And it turned out really nice. And literally picked it up from the wrap shop and drove it into the desert.
Nice.
That day.
That's what it's for. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it turned out really nice. And then we got back, dealt with some air conditioner problems from our bumper install. Like we just didn't check the clearances, and we were rubbing on one of the return lines for AC, and it just went out.
Like
So.
Yeah, it took them almost a month to figure out what was going on.
Track it down.
Yeah.
It's funny. I had a similar issue in my Taco. It was actually a coupling, like where two of the lines split, and I kept there's no problems in the lines, and it was actually like there was a crack in between the two, so it was like bleeding out through that. Yeah.
Yeah, but then we just finished the interior build.
Yeah.
And that took us 2 or 3 months to plan out. We mocked it up in cardboard and ended up not doing any of that.
It happens to be a lot.
Yeah. Confirm it's a bad idea. Right.
Yeah.
This seems so smart. Why did I do that?
So,
what was I thinking?
again, the
This is the
walkthrough
right spot.
has all this stuff, but one thing, Matt, I don't know if you had seen it yet. They didn't do like the regular furnace. You said you did a Truma propane heater that's like some of the vans and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Looks like it takes up very little space, but it's really cool.
It is a dream.
Yeah.
It puts out a lot of heat. So the fireplaces are really nice, and they're great for places with like mild winters, I'd say. Like generally keeps the camper maybe like 20 degrees warmer than the ambient air until you go below freezing. Then you go below freezing and it like becomes less and less effective.
Okay.
The colder you get. So we wanted to, like, her parents live in Colorado, and we like to go be out there and want to be able to camp in the winter and everything out there. So we needed something that,
They're in Colorado Springs, but they're moving up to Steamboat Springs, which
the
is
Springs.
it's changed a lot.
Matt spends a decent amount of time there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Way too much.
Yeah, we moved out there for skating for me in a former lifetime.
The
but-
Olympic Training Center.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. So
So you skated there? I guess I knew that, but they have a facility in the Springs. Okay.
yeah, so the main
I've been to the Olympic Training Center before, and I shot there a long time ago, like 30 years or something.
Yeah.
35 years, maybe 40.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been a long time.
Yeah, I mean they've completely updated everything. I was at the training center for several years, and it was a blast to be there. And I didn't really appreciate the outdoors at that point in time because I was stuck in a rink all the time. And so I think it just really, going back now when we take the truck out there, it just completely fosters a completely new experience of what it's like to be outdoors and experience Colorado for what it is and the mountains. And it's so fun.
The problem is that the Springs is such a weird spot.
It is.
Because it's like Kansas to the left and cool to the right. And you're like, why am I stuck on the wrong side of this all the time?
Exactly.
Everybody who lives here doesn't go there enough. Like, I don't understand. Like, why just move? Like, it's crazy. It's mind-boggling to me. Or the pass is closed and you can't.
Right.
That's the other thing. Half the year they're like, oh, you can't get over there. What the hell?
Yeah. That's why they're moving on the other side of the pass. So we'll just be stuck there all the time.
Right. At least you trap someplace interesting.
We've got some
Because
friends
the traffic and stuff. Holy crap, you can't get anywhere.
Crazy. We have some good friends that live in Fort Collins for work, but they've got a place in Steamboat. And so we're going to go out, probably not, I guess it's this year. No, it's this year. We're going to wait till next year, till the new arrival's a little bit older, and spend some time with them. Because every time they're like, you got to come out. And it's like, that'll be a fun, like, family trip. So,
Yeah.
For such a small town, it's like population of 18,000, the food and the community.
And then if you want to be in the mountains, it's like
right
there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we totally fell in love with it when we were there this summer.
And when I was out there this last August, this whole January thing's really screwing me. Last August, did a loop with a buddy that we really kind of rushed through, and I was immediately like, I want to come back out here and have more time to explore some of these parts because we were on a schedule, and it was kind of like, well, we just got to blow through here, but holy crap, what's over there? What's up there? So,
Yeah, endless forest roads.
Oh yeah,
there's plenty to do. Plenty to do and plenty to do relatively close, honestly.
Yeah, so the heater
Yeah.
will enable us to
Spend more time out.
Yeah.
exactly.
So what are your like 5 favorite things that you did?
I mean, the heater is one for
Okay.
sure.
There's definitely one.
Yeah.
that heater honestly was
That's
what
the
we
win.
built everything around. But I mean, the interior cabinets that we built out, I'm very proud of that we built that totally
Yeah.
custom. And then I think the only other thing on my list would be the floor, which is HydroTurf, and they cut the Mountain State Overland
Yeah.
logo
Yeah.
into the floor.
Looks
Oh.
really
Pretty
good.
sweet.
Okay.
We'll have to show
Yeah,
you
yeah,
around,
yeah. I'll go take
That makes a
look
big
at
difference in the cold too. Having
Yeah.
something you're not getting out on like a hard cold surface. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we camped in Colorado one year, and we just had Jax, one of our Huskies at the time, and we put towels down on the floor. And in the morning, when we got out of the truck, we pulled the towels out, and they were frozen to the floor.
Yeah.
So it was 0
So-
degrees.
Oh,
Yeah.
So we definitely took our time to insulate
Insulate
this
it.
one properly.
Yeah.
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 That makes
And we'll
a big
do
difference.
even more.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
later.
when we did the Tacoma. We had a Summit camper for a while, and same. I built a subfloor and insulate and plywood because it was just like it doesn't matter how warm and comfortable you are. Your feet hit that in the morning, and it's like this sucks.
Yeah. Shock to the system.
Yeah.
I think the other two things that I am also very pleased with how they turned out were the drawer system that we put in the seat, or on top of the seat delete in the back, just because that gave us so much storage, and it really felt like, okay, this is the home for the dog. So like
Yeah.
we can really keep all of that organized. And actually how the cushions turned out, because
yeah.
I learned how to sew for that, which was really fun.
That's a win.
Yeah.
Yeah. All of this was about like knowledge building and skill building for me.
Okay.
And so, so I learned how to sew, and did that with Eric's mom while she was out over the holidays.
Yeah.
And they turned out great. And it
No,
just-
they look really good. Like
Yeah.
honestly, I just assume you guys like found those or had like some cut to fit place, you know.
Yeah.
But no, those are really nice DIY cushions for sure.
Yeah, we took the old Alicab stock mattress out
Yeah.
and cut up the foam,
Oh,
and then
nice.
Yeah.
Way to repurpose. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. And then, and then we just found some like really cool outdoor fabric stuff that doesn't really show the dirt and will hide all the dog fur.
Yeah.
And it just feels really homey. And
Yeah.
because everything that we had in the Tacoma just felt very utilitarian. And so that just felt like a kind of a nice touch just
Yeah.
to make it feel a little more cozy on the road.
And everybody should learn how to sew so they understand how hard it is to make stuff.
Yeah.
I really, because all the time people are like, you could buy mesh for $12. Yeah, I mean, I can too. I can't sew it together for that. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, I gotta pay somebody though. Anyway, no, I do think that, and I think it's good to at least have enough experience with that kind of stuff. That you can evaluate or make decisions on what you want to spend money on and your time and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I think it's a lot of that stuff in general. I don't know, lost, not necessarily sewing, but just working on the vehicle and stuff in general. I think there's some lost art to that kind of stuff that that we just don't have. I mean, so I grew up as a farm kid, right? So you fixed everything. There was nothing you weren't like. If it was broke, you were going to fix it. And it didn't matter what it was. If it was electrical, if it was the well, if it was a tractor, if it was a truck, you didn't have a choice. You know, the store was far enough away, and we had enough parts that we were going to make it go. And that resourcefulness has served me well, I think, most of my life. But it's interesting that you get a lot of that when you do stuff like this. Like you just start figuring stuff out, like how to make something fit, realizing that there needs to be clearance, or you know what I mean, identifying those spots. As you go and as you work on things. And I think that's something that's really powerful for people kind of down the road as you go and as you're doing other things in life even, it's like, there's very few things that scare me. You know what I mean? Like that when I look at stuff, I just, I like front suspension. I can do that.
Yeah.
It springs, few bolts. Somebody put it together. I ought to be able to put it together. You know what I mean? Like that's the math that goes on in my head. And I think that sort of self-reliance is maybe, I don't know about lost, but is waning.
Yeah.
Is waning a lot, and I think that's a piece that would do a lot of people a lot of good. Plus, there's so much benefit, and I'm a maker. Like that, I get fulfillment out of making things. So I don't care
Same.
what, I don't really care what
Yeah.
it is. Like I don't know if we sew it, if we build a table, I don't care. Like I just, if we've got some lights being put in. You know what I mean? When you're done, the switch goes, the lights work, like that's cool, right? Like I mean, like there's a whole lot of satisfaction in doing something, and then when you're done with it, it works. And I think that's something people miss, like in general in society, that they just
Completely
there's a
agree.
gap there that we used to have, or we've had for a really long time, and we just don't anymore.
Yeah.
And that's a real shame, because it's a lot of the trade stuff like that is neat, because when you look back, you have something.
Yeah.
And there's so many things you do in life when you look back, you don't have anything. There's
Right.
nothing to show
Yeah,
that
yeah.
you did something interesting or you knew how to do it, or it's art. You know what I mean? It's like, our electrician, who's a good friend of the show, Dustin Gaither. If you need an electrician locally,
Wait. Dustin will be listening to this in approximately January 12th.
Yeah,
He's always like a week behind.
He looks about
Like,
a week late. Yeah. So Dusty, shout out. But it's wiring art. I mean, like if you look at the stuff he does, you're just like, holy crap! It is just done well, and somebody who cares about it.
Yeah.
And there's, it's nice when you see people and you experience stuff like that, and you can identify it too.
Yeah.
Like you can look at stuff and go, holy crap! You know what I mean? Like if you look at my truck, you're holy crap, who did that? Like,
And
what monkey with a
wiring's
hammer
one
made
of those
this happen?
things
You
that
know what I mean?
people are like, oh, you wire it, but it's like it still works and
And
it's art.
safe.
Yeah.
It's well labeled and organized. Like
Yeah, like
We
Dustin and Grant, those examples of where
Yeah.
it looks like the diagram in real life. That's where the difference is. Yeah.
Yeah, Grant Wilson's another one of those that Freedom Van Gogh, if anybody's looking for van stuff.
Yeah.
Grant does probably some of the best work in the country.
We had a discussion similar to this on a panel that we did at Expo East this year, and we were talking about kind of pros and cons of building it yourself versus having someone else build it for you and paying for it. And I think one of the things that has been a huge takeaway for me during this process is exactly what you were just talking about. Like there's so much satisfaction and like so much of it felt so rewarding to finally like put all the finishing touches on everything.
Yeah.
Like literally on December 31st this year, we were like, the goal was to get this truck done by the end of 2024, and we're wrapping everything up, and just to turn around and like share that moment together and say, wow, we've really done this together. This was a huge learning experience, I think, for both of us in many ways. And it was so valuable and so much fun. Like truly so much fun. And I feel like we're both walking out of this experience like so much more confident in our abilities and like really understanding exactly how everything works and how it all goes together, so that if it falls apart, we know how to fix it and do it better next time.
Well, and think about all the things that you're not afraid to do now
Yes.
that you wouldn't have done before.
Yeah.
It's like,
especially Rachel. Like,
no, I mean, it's like, you work on this and you work on that, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, it's an outlet. There's only 3 wires. Like I should be able to do this. You know what I mean? And oh wait, it's a switch. There's only a few wires in there too. I can probably replace this. You know, like I said, there's so many things that those little pieces of confidence gives you to be able to go out and explore and not be scared of the next thing.
Yep.
That and a little YouTube, and you can do anything.
Yeah, not without problems. Like, I mean, we only cut like 15-minute videos and documented all this stuff, but
That's
like,
actual real time. Like bumper, 15-minute install, right?
Yeah.
15-minute install.
I wish.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we put that bumper on and took it off probably about 6 or 7 times.
Yeah. My back was so sore that day.
Yeah, we tried to start and wire the compressor 3 times. And
This is where you start buying a lot of tools.
Oh,
That-
you should
that's-
see our
that's-
garage.
Oh, trust me.
Yeah.
well, that was like the whole methodology behind it, is like, because we had goose gear in the Tacoma, right? And I was a product design major and mechanical engineer, so I understood how all this stuff went together. So once I saw how it was all put together, I was like, I could do this, right?
Yeah.
And so rather than investing the premium in having someone build it all for us, we bought all the tools to be able to do it ourselves.
Yeah. And then you start going, geez, if I had a transmission jack, this bumper would go. You know what I mean? Like that's what happens to me. Like if I'm like, man, I really wish I had, and that happens to me 3 times, I own it. Like, and that could be a skid steer, that could be a transmission jack, it could be almost anything. I own a lot of things because of that.
Do you have a transmission jack?
I don't. Well, I do. I have a big hydraulic table that works really well as a transmission jack.
Cool. Because I may have a bumper installed in the future.
I actually have 2 of those. So we've got one for each end if we need it. I wish more people experience some of that stuff. Maybe not suspension stuff. Like that's kind of an ugly one sometimes.
Yeah.
You only get to mess it up once, maybe twice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a little scary. Like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
It's
Well, you have to torque everything down and be very methodical about it.
that's just German.
Maybe not
torque.
on a farm,
It's old German torque spec, man. Good and tight.
Yeah, good and tight.
Make it good and tight. It'll be fine.
Ever wrench a torque wrench if you're strong enough. Like
Right. Just one more ugga dugga and she'll be right.
except for lug nuts. There's a
yeah.
tire shop in Knoxville that taught me the hard way. Like every time
Not one extra.
every time I go in, they'd be like, "We broke a lug." No, you know what? I'm starting to sense a pattern. Yeah. Yeah.
Don't use the new Impact, please.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We know you got it.
Yeah.
We know it's cool.
Yeah.
We know the
See-
Snap-on truck just left.
They had this deal where like you buy tires from you got lifetime rotation and balance, and they were close. So
Eight lug nuts later.
I may have been getting my tires rotated and balanced practically a lot, but then I was like, "That's how you get me." I've bought 16 lug nuts, like, 16 lugs. Like they're practically all new. Like maybe these aren't free. Like,
Every stud on it is gone.
yeah, so,
Oh, that's funny.
yeah. So no, the truck's looking good. I mean, if you guys want to talk about it, you talked about maybe doing like an extended trip to Alaska. Like that's cool.
Yeah.
So
she's-
you got the rig for it now. Yeah.
yeah. She's been in school for the last 7 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
7 years.
Yeah.
I did my
Holy crap.
I did my PhD in clinical psychology, so that was 5 years, and then you have a year of clinical internship,
Yeah.
and then I'm just going to be finishing up my postdoc in August.
Oh, God, I'd rather
And-
be waterboarded.
That's how I feel.
I mean, I didn't even go in that far, and I still had that like, oh my god, there's no more homework. Like, like I can't remember a time there wasn't homework. Like,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so
so
we're ready.
Yeah, so we have been talking about doing a trip like this for years now.
Yeah.
And it's something that I think is really important to us, in part because now we have the like perfect vehicle for
Yeah, yeah.
it. And like we just want to spend some good quality time together and go on really fun adventures and see people we haven't seen in a while, and just experience something completely
Yeah.
new. And it's been a place on our bucket list for a long time.
We like that style of travel, right? Like
Yeah.
we like being able to meander and stop at a place that looks kind of cool and interesting,
Yeah, yeah.
or just take our time.
XYZ general stores, little park.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we do a
exactly.
lot of that.
Yeah. So we'll
lot
do
of
that
random
next
stuff.
summer.
Yep.
Yeah. No, wait, it's 2025.
Oh yeah,
This
this summer.
summer,
Yeah.
Okay, see, right. I was
So
like,
this summer you're doing that?
2026.
This
Oh,
summer.
wow.
This-
So how
yeah.
long is this trip?
Probably 2 months.
Yeah.
2.5
Okay.
months.
Are you going back to North Carolina when this is all done? Or
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the plan for now,
North Carolina's
yeah.
going to be home for a while.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the plan right now. We're gonna go up to Michigan right after she finishes.
Don't do that.
We're gonna go up to Michigan to visit Paul and Bethany, our friends.
You have friends in Michigan.
You know Paul and Bethany?
MSO Paul. Yeah,
Starbucks Bethany.
Yeah, yeah.
They both work for GM.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Yep.
God,
Yep.
Michigan.
and then we're gonna do the Hammer Down season 6
Yeah.
in Utah and Idaho, and then we'll
See, that
leave-
makes sense.
yeah.
Michigan, that's like,
See, Matt and I
It's on
disagree.
the
Like,
way.
I really want to do a trip to the UP. Like, I
Yeah.
know a guy that
Well,
lives
that's
up
where
there.
okay,
go,
spent a large portion of my time in the UP, so I get that.
Yeah.
But that's not
That's
really
where we'll
Michigan.
be.
That's like Wisconsin. It's
Right,
like
right.
Yeah.
Wisconsin East.
I want to do. I've got like a route. It's like a perimeter UP. Like essentially, you go like.
And
all
you
over.
can't go in the winter because there's nobody sober
Yeah.
in the UP or Wisconsin,
Yeah.
for that
Yeah.
matter.
No,
'Cause
plus,
it's
I don't
dark
want it.
and
I
it's
don't want it
cold,
to be a
and the only
snowmobile
thing
trip,
opens-
so I'm not going then anyway.
Yes, exactly.
The only thing open
Snow
is
machine.
bars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, like Alaska. Is it just like Alaska and poke around, or like Arctic Circle, or like?
We don't know.
Detroit even.
We have
It's
probably
even
not.
worse. Isn't that where they live?
Well, we'll probably meet up with them there, but
Yeah.
we'll probably spend most of the time in the Upper Peninsula.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
just for a week.
Okay.
Yeah.
For a
So
week.
like you're gonna drive through Michigan to get to the UP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Okay,
travel with
I feel-
them for a
I feel-
week.
That makes so much more sense. I was really
Yeah.
scared there for a minute because I just don't. None of Michigan.
We're not driving to Michigan to go hang out in Detroit.
Yeah.
I saw a really funny meme the other day. So I was like, why don't they connect Chicago to Detroit with a bridge? You know, because it's so many hours to drive around. And the top comment was like, that's like building a bridge from Gotham City to another Gotham City. And it had like all these upvotes. It was like, wow. You know, I feel like even if you don't know a lot about Batman, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Like,
That's hilarious. Yeah. Yeah. So we'll do those 2 like week-long trips and then just go
Yeah.
straight up.
Go
So
straight up.
Yeah.
I think we'll probably go up to Banff maybe.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
been something
I
we've
think you
been.
have to do
Family
that.
in Banff, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, we'll just kind of putz around
Nice.
in Alaska. I reserved some campsites in Denali National Park because that was on my bucket list too.
Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
want to go drive parts of the highway. And then, but part of what we plan to do is just kind of stake out a little bit of of our trip in like Juneau, for example. You know, we'll be there for a
Yeah.
day or two, and then we'll kind of explore
Yeah.
out for 4 or 5 days, and then come back.
That's what we like to
And
do
then-
is like get a
Wheels,
base
spoken
because
wheel.
so much stuff
Yeah.
comes out of the woodwork. You're talking
Right.
to somebody, you should go check this out.
Mhm,
You know, so yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we
Yellowstone.
have,
Have you been to Polebridge? Have you been to Yellowstone? Polebridge. That's one of those. You got to go there. If that's
That
on
might
your-
be on the
if that's
way.
even close on the
Yeah.
way, like
yeah.
you legitimately have to stop at It is the
Yeah.
greatest shitter on the planet. I'm not kidding. It is the best view of any shitter on the planet.
Okay.
And really good pizza and the best bear claws. Actually, probably the best bear claws on the planet.
Wow.
Is that
It
where
may rival the shitter.
was Andy just there? I saw you commented on
Yeah. Andy was just at Polebridge. Yeah.
Yeah. So
You had me a good pizza, so.
Yeah. I mean, it's got a little. It's a really good bakery. If they're
Yeah.
still running it the same way it used to be,
Yeah.
it's a really good bakery.
oh, that'll be fun.
What's your countertopic?
Because especially the Alaska thing, like that's kind of on my radar for down the road. Like that would be a fun extended trip. Like
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's the culmination of like everything she's accomplished in school.
yeah,
And I'll just like take a sabbatical from work or try and quit my job or whatever. And then, yeah, we'll take 2.5 months and be back in October,
yeah,
right around the time for Expo.
nice, yeah.
Got a couple guided trips in October, and then we'll be back in North Carolina.
Yeah, because this is like coming up fast now that we're in 2025.
I
right?
know.
Yeah.
This is about the time of year you got to stop saying next year. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
something.
Yeah. Yeah.
something different. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, Matt and I have been on the Ford 7.3 train for a long time, and I really want a F-250 double cab short bed.
My train switches tracks a lot because for a while it was a Porsche Cayenne because I really kind of, and then
Yeah.
a Sienna minivan, and right now
yeah,
it is for sure a 7.3. But it
And-
never, it might
I mean, I don't
Back to the
know.
minivan.
could be.
Like if I found the right one, actually, I know the one I want, and it was for sale, and then it wasn't, and it was. It
The
must be a
minivan
great
or the 7.3.
a 7.3.
Okay.
And it must be a great truck because the guy that bought it is the guy that sold it to the dude that was selling it. Like he just like was like, I made a mistake, you know. I was like ready to pull the trigger. We were selling our house in Tennessee. It's out west, so I was like, I just can't go right now. Get this thing anyway. And then I went back to, I was like, let's find that listing. No, you know. And then I don't know how, but slowly the idea of a Tundra has got into my head. A buddy of mine has a 15 that he loves. Double cab, 6.5 foot bed. And I was like, man, that is pretty sweet. The 5.7 is pretty epic in terms of like reliability and, you know, the miles you can expect out of this thing. Like it's going to just keep going. I had a Tacoma that I loved, 01. Yeah. 3.4, itty bitty truck, a lot like a golf cart, but just kept driving. So amongst your research, like, you know, 7.3, early 2000s Ford diesel, or kind of going back to our conversation, I really want a Rock Warrior. Like, it's really the only like off-road package that they offered that wasn't kind of superficial. Plus, I found one that's really, really awesome. Like low miles. Looks like the dude didn't drive it in the rain or something. I mean, it's just in great shape.
It's Rodney's truck. Is it Rodney's truck?
Well, this would have been Rodney's truck 12 years ago.
Is it tan?
No.
Because Rodney's had some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a gray Rock Warrior, 2013, 76,000 and change miles. Great shape. Got the Rock Warrior wheels, which are like unobtainium. Most people at this point have caved in and sold those to somebody that wanted to throw them on a Land Cruiser. So how did you land on the 5.7?
It came down to like just the stage of life that we're in. Like we aren't full time on the road,
Yeah.
so it
Well,
didn't.
then you'd have a van because
A van, or do something like a F-250 or a 2500 with a OEV camper on the back.
Like a flatbed, right?
Yeah. Oof.
But
I may eventually flatbed this Bound for Nowhere. Their last one was a similar.
I love their rig.
It was a double cab flatbed. I think
everything should have a flatbed. on
the only
this.
thing for me
So we're on the same page.
is like even if I do flatbed this Tundra down the road, I will probably do boxes and do a regular sliding camper. John Burt's Ford. It gives you way more onboard storage.
yeah,
And two, man, the price jump from a non-flatbed camper to a
Exactly.
flatbed camper,
is silly.
it's astronomical. It's like, guys, I can do the math there's not that much more square footage. Like it's about that much wider and about that much taller and over the length of your bed. That's all you're building into that camper.
You're actually building less into it because you're not building
Yeah.
cutout.
All the,
like,
they're simpler to build.
you would think.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not building them, so
And I will say, I've
I'll
looked
try
at
to farm it
some
from the road, but-
Overland for Good. I don't know if you're familiar with them. They've got a flatbed Tundra. They're in South America and have been for I think they're on a 2-year trip. But they have got one from Summit Campers, which is a smaller outfit, and it's just a box on a flatbed. Like there's no overcab, but the way they've got it built out, like really seems to work.
Yeah. I mean, this thing also needed to do guided trips. So
Yeah.
the thought of driving a 250 in like the tight trails of West Virginia
Right.
is just not practical. So
See, I'm the opposite. Even when I'm guiding a trip, we're the opposite of the Marines. We will leave everyone behind. Ron Swanson. If anybody has any problems, please remember you're an adult and handle them like an adult. I'll see you at the end of the day.
Take care of yourself.
See,
Yeah.
No.
it's the perfect size for what we needed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and truly, we also had such a great experience with the Tacoma up until we didn't. But
up until it all went wrong.
yeah.
The unexpected and untimely death.
Right,
If you
yeah.
remove that factor.
Yeah. But I think we just came back to like there's so many people who get Toyotas for a reason because of the
Yeah.
reliability and with the Tundra
That
itself.
generation.
Last
Yeah,
year.
exactly.
Let's go
Not
back
the
to
new
yes,
ones.
yes,
last
not
year.
the new ones.
2
Yes,
years
correct.
ago,
Yeah,
whatever the number is.
yeah.
But
Up until that point, yeah.
up until just recently when
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I got a
Toyota,
2021.
Yeah.
when Toyota, Chevy, Dodge, and
Yeah.
Ford have all tied for they suck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I kind of want to, I don't know, not that I have a bad feeling about the ZR2. It's just, I want something bigger. I want something with a little more bed space. And then something just be like, yeah, we'll just keep driving it.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. We love it.
Yeah.
I get that feeling. I always want something different. I'm bad about that.
Well, I mean, at the same day, I saw a 1991 Mitsubishi Montero relisted that I had seen and was like, oh no.
wait.
yeah. Like,
What am I gonna do?
yeah, I've got $9,000 and a bad idea.
Might as well settle for the Sienna.
Yeah.
That's
right.
also-
Yeah.
But it
The
has,
problem is, if I get a Sienna, I have to have a truck too,
right.
because it doesn't work.
Cut the
Like,
back off the Sienna.
what?
Cut the back
Yeah,
off the
well,
Sienna.
it still isn't going to get it done.
And it's the best box, like geometric. You know about like your design. When we started making vehicles so round, we got away from like the path.
Utility.
Like you know what holds stuff well? A box with a bunch of right angles.
Yeah.
You know what holds stuff less well? A box with not right angles. Like so.
Yeah, it's a lot harder to fit stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'll never forget a good friend in Tennessee drove a Honda Element forever, and I appreciate that. Used it for everything. And one day he was like, "Hey, we're getting a new TV stand. Will you help me go pick it up?" Sure. And so I showed up. I think I had the Taco at that point. And had the bag cleaned out. I was like, "All right, let's go." He's like, "No, we're taking the Element." And I was like, like
It
what?
is just a box.
Yeah.
And he had already put the seats up against the wall, which Honda Element has the best folding back seats ever. And not only did we load it, we both were inside the Element as we were loading this large TV stand.
Wow.
It was like, we couldn't do this with a truck.
Yeah.
It would be like, get on this end and shove, like,
Yeah, those things have a cult following for sure.
yeah. No, Honda missed the mark. They should have lifted those things 1.5 inches and made them all-wheel drive, instead of that being the rare one, and that would have been gold. So
What's the what? Do you know what the tow rating is on your Tundra?
I don't know off the top of my head.
I know the
It's more than the
payload is
Tacoma, that's for sure.
I know the payload on those, maybe not the Crew Max, is like 14.75 or something.
Max is like 150 pounds less or something.
Yeah. I think the double cab is like just shy of 1,500. Because
you wouldn't even know that number if you had a 250 because you wouldn't it wouldn't matter. You'd
well,
not
actually,
gonna
what's
get there.
interesting is that's what it is, and then you see how many people Bound for Nowhere's last rig was way over that, and they drove it forever, and they drove it
Yeah,
everywhere.
no, I mean any of the full size, honestly,
Yeah.
you're in pretty good shape on most of that stuff.
Yeah.
I have to admit,
Yeah.
biggest thing for me is pulling trailer.
Right,
I need to be able to
A
haul
big trailer.
A big trailer. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I need to be able to haul trailer a lot.
Yeah.
Which is why the Sienna doesn't work out. It's not going to move the stuff I need to move.
You tend to move tractors and.
I want to hear more about
Horses.
these Sienna dreams that you have. I'm
Oh
so
wait, no. So
intrigued.
here, it's a short list. For like $600, you can lift it for 3 inches, which
Yeah.
means you can fit a 33.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, there's a pretty decent plate bumper out there for these things.
Yep.
That's winch ready.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the
kidding.
approach and the departure angle is not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Like it's like better. What's the and it has it. What's the ground clearance on it? It's like really good, like way better than you think it should be.
yeah, isn't it stock? It's like 8 or something. Like we looked this
It's
up.
like it's like with a couple inches of lift and a little bit of tire, it's like not a long way off your 0-2. You know,
Right, right. Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's
Is that front wheel drive only?
no, you
No,
can get a
all-wheel
all-wheel
drive?
drive,
Oh,
Yeah.
and you can get a hybrid, all-wheel drive hybrid.
I'm ready for this.
Oh,
That would be
interesting.
in,
Double sliding doors. You talk about like access to gear. What's better than both sides of your van open?
I mean, you
Right.
put that in a Brog booth at
right.
an extra like.
And the best thing, I mean, I'm a van guy. I've owned a lot of vans over the years, and the best thing about it is you get tired, you just walk in the back and go to sleep,
Yeah.
and it does not matter where you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can nap in the Walmart parking lot in a white minivan. Nobody's even gonna think about it.
Yeah.
There's no thought, no
Yeah.
worries.
Yep.
Lock the doors, go to sleep.
Yeah.
I'm supportive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you have to get out. You got to do stuff.
Yeah.
People know. Oh, he
Yeah.
stopped. He's
Yeah.
camping.
Yeah.
Not me.
Right. No, 100%. That dude just been in Walmart a long time.
Anything else fun we got?
No, first episode of the new year.
Holy crap!
Woo.
Yeah.
Got some new, well, nothing new coming out, but some stuff circling back. Chest rigs coming back soon. Standard tire bags, which we haven't had for a minute.
Standard tire bags will be back.
yeah.
Chest rigs might be a minute, but we got to get some got to go bags done.
Yeah, this comes out next week, so that's fine. And then, thanks for the lead in. We planned that. Got to go bag. So we did the launch edition for those of you hanging around.
For the last two of you,
yeah,
thank
well,
you.
listen,
We really appreciate this.
I know
Dustin.
2 things: that Jimmy's still here, and Jimmy got one, and a couple other listeners. I think actually of the crew of 15 launch edition bags, a few went to like consistent podcast listeners, and we'll have another run of those, but not with the golden handle because that is for the
No.
launch edition only.
No golden handle.
Yeah. After the holidays, we kind of have to get back into like
Recovery.
regular production mode. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's just everybody panic, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, get caught back up a little bit.
Yeah,
Get some inventory.
yeah.
Get some people to work.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have a snow day Monday, so
Oh,
You
that
think it's
sounds
going to get real?
I think that
Man, I kind of
I
hope
think
so
if
because
it-
that's the best way to clean the outside of a white truck. I may
Yeah.
have pictures of the ZR2 on Monday.
Monday afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My
no,
truck's never cleaner than after a good snow.
Yeah, if it snows at all, nobody will come in. I mean, we're in Virginia. It's not Michigan.
Yeah.
They're gonna go out in the cold anyway.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I have to pick your brain on this Tundra thing.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll gladly help.
Oh.
I think we've got like 3
Careful
more
what you're
episodes.
offering here. You're not that far away. Trust me.
No, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
We've learned a lot about the Tundra,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
I got really excited. I found the guy parting one out the other day, and there was a snorkel. And then he was like, "The last 3 photos are what's left," and it was like the cab, the engine, and then just like some random. I was like, "Oh, I thought I was about to get a cheap snorkel for a Tundra I don't own yet, but never mind," because I totally would have been like, "Claim it."
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, hey, if you're still here, as always, thanks. We appreciate the dedicated crowd, and we appreciate the people that listen the first couple of minutes because that helps us too. That they're not here, so they don't know that. And thanks for coming out to the shop, hanging out with us today. Eric had reached out, kind of you all wrapping this up. It was just like, again, Christmas is like, our Christmas, everybody panic starts like a week or 2 before Thanksgiving. So we've kind of been in that mode. So
Yeah. We've been in everybody panic mode.
Yeah, no,
Ruin
we-
as few Christmases as possible. That's the mode we're in.
Yeah.
We're happening.
And Matt said this may have been a record for ruined Christmases in the good way.
Yeah. As
Nice.
few ruined
Golf
Christmases
score
as
style.
maybe
Yeah.
we've ever done.
Nice.
Maybe 5 or 6 total.
Mm-hmm.
7 ruined Christmases. Or at least that's what the emails say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you both for having us and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No.
helping put the finishing touches on.
Yeah, no, it's
On
looking
build.
good. Yeah.
Well, good deal, guys.
Watch out for the walk around. I don't know exactly when that'll be live, but we'll have the full walk around soon. Plus, kind of the more specific brog, how we outfitted the camper and the cab of the truck has a lot of good a lot of good pouch usage in that seat delete. So yeah, 2 more videos featuring the Tundra build. So well done on that. Yeah, and we will see you all in 2 weeks.